Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morrisman, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a video per response from a comment from a video I've done before. And the name of the video is called No Bass Tabs, because I get a lot of people that ask me for guitar tabs and bass tabs. And as you know, I'm old school. To me, my definition of the tab is this cheat sheet for beginners, and all you're doing is cheating yourself out of becoming a good guitar player instead of just watching people's fingers on the internet and they tell you put your finger there. You don't know why your finger's here. You don't even know what this note is. You don't want to go that route, because it's going to show in your plan, and it's going to take you years to unprogram yourself from that way of learning into learning the right way. So I tell people that ask me about bass tabs, 100% of the stuff that I do on bass, I do by ear, because my ear is quicker than my sight as far as reading music, because I can read bass tabulation as well as guitar and piano. But when I hear it, I quickly identify where those notes are at, because the statement I made, and this is the statement that made one of my subscribers spark his comment. He said, I said that the bass guitar is the easiest instrument to play. And he said he disagrees. And as I read his comment, I'm waiting to see or read that, he played multiple instruments and out of all of them, bass is not the easiest. I didn't read that. And so it's interesting when people want to make a comment based on nothing. And what I mean by that is, in order to make that comment, and I can make it because I play several instruments. And out of all those instruments, this is the easiest one to play. And I've surveyed other musicians who play multiple instruments that play bass included, and they say the same thing. So yeah, bass is not that hard. I mean, unless you're trying to be this super Victor Wooten and all that super jazz guy, it's the easiest. Because I mean, just because you play an instrument don't mean that you play it to the greatest extent. Meaning that I play guitar, but I don't play like Al McKay, and Nile Rodgers. Those guys are guitar gods, but I play well enough to play. And that's, one of the points that I'm making. I play several instruments, but I don't play them all as well as each other. And that's what made Prince so unique, because just about every instrument he played as good as the guys that play that main instrument. So it's interesting when I have people that want to make a comment based on no data. Because again, in order for you to make that comment that bass is the easiest instrument to play, you got to have played several other instruments, and by default, bass is the easiest one to play. And I stand by my comment because, again, this is how I feel. This is how many other musicians feel. And it's just an opinion, but it's kind of a good close opinion because you're playing one note at a time. Now, unless you're playing some fast, intricate jazz stuff where they're playing scales and random notes, it's different. But if you're just playing the R&B stuff, because you have to learn, I guess, the ins and outs of songs. Because, I mean, a beginner approaching a music just by trying to play the chords and focus on the instrument on the radio record that he's playing too. But the way that most professional musicians work, we listen to everything. And everything is important because they're put together like a puzzle. So while I'm playing the bass notes, I'm listening to what the piano player is doing, what the guitar player is doing, the rhythm of the drums, all that kind of stuff. Because again, how R&B music is usually designed, and it's real simple. They play patterns, a series of patterns. And the example I gave in my other video was this: Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. There are only two bass patterns going on in that song. The main one, da 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 da, and then the second part, which is like the B section, da 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 da. Back to that. That's all they do, rock back and forth. So that is not really difficult to do when you become a musician and start playing. Now, as far as for the beginner, absolutely everything is a struggle, whether you're blowing on the flute or trying to play bass or piano or guitar or drums. But I'm talking about once you kind of get the gist of being a musician, bass is a piece of cake, because a lot of times I don't even consider myself playing bass because it's so easy to me. And I remember in one of my bands, I sat in for the bass player because there was this one song that the lead vocalist wanted to do that the bass player kind of just wasn't feeling. And I mean, we all have that moments that we just not feeling the song, but a lot of times you got to be professionals and do it anyway, because it's not about what we want; it's about what we're giving to the audience. But that's another story altogether. So I elected to play the bass part. And after I played the bass part, the drummer pulled me to the side because they really never seen me play bass, you know. And the drummer pulled me to the side and said, "Man, you play bass better than the bass player." I'm like, "Well, don't tell him that." And he started laughing, And it wasn't a thing of trying to show out anybody. It's like, I can get the job done, whether it's on guitar, whether it's on drums, or whether it's on piano or bass. Now, of course, my other instruments, because I told you guys the first instrument I learned how to play was trumpet, and to this day I can still play trumpet. I just don't play because trumpet is a physical instrument, meaning that you got to use your lungs, got to blow in all that stuff, and I'm like, gave me a headache a lot of times. I'm like, I'm leaving this alone. So then I start playing drums, then I start playing bass, then I start playing guitar. I'm like, this is it, this is the one. And in between it, I start picking up little bits and pieces of piano. But it's the easiest instrument to play, tally by most musicians. Now, everybody won't agree with that, but it's just one note at a time. And then it's a series of patterns within an R&B or rock or even blues scale. Now, jazz, totally different animal because they're playing scales. So at any given time, they're playing random notes, and those notes fit in the key, so it's not out of key. So with the exception of jazz bass playing, bass is easy. Just got to focus on and listen, because I stress in my DVDs for sale, close to 6 hours, $35, how you have to focus on structure of song, because no teacher has ever told me to focus on structure, as far as focusing on what the chords are doing or the bass line is doing in the verses. And then you have to be able to identify a verse. This is the verses, or one of the verses, because there's usually 3 verses in a song. And then what's going on in either the pre-chorus, which means that it's the different chord progressions before we get to the big part, which is the hook, which is also called the chorus. What are they doing there? And then what are they doing in the hook? And if there's modulation, you're going up some steps or going down some steps. Most music teachers don't teach you nothing about that. I think you would have to probably sit in a room in a college and have a guy with a chalkboard kind of mapping that out. But guess what? We learned it for free back in the day, because we studied and we got together as musicians and we passed on ideas to each other. And then it's like, okay, I got that. This is a little trick that I learned that you might want to pick up on. That's how most of us learned back in the day. We didn't sit up there with music degrees and now, we want to tell everybody and be all condescending. That ain't right. This is wrong. Because people sometimes get a kick out of doing that. And that's why I get a lot of these quote unquote theory people trying to chime in, telling me what to do. I'm like, where's your 3,000 videos? I go into their page, I don't see not one video. I'm like, teach us so you can shape guys up like me. So it becomes a thing that at some point, and it's really sad, it's no longer even about the music. It's about the egos. It's about I'm better than you. It's about I can show you out. Because I'm going to say this and sign off. And this doesn't apply to everybody by no means. But I noticed, the guys that do the theory thing, they want to get acceptance from their peers. I don't give a shit about my peers. I don't mean that in a negative way. What I mean is, the people that come to see me play are the people that I'm concerned about and trying to cater to. Not the other guy on the stage that thinks he's better and he can solo better than me, because I could care less about that. I can care less about what other musicians think about me. My focus is giving a good show for the people that come in and pay their hard-earned money to relax and enjoy good music. That's where the focus should be. Not, I'm better than this guy and I'm about to show you on stage nonsense. That's that high school mentality. But, when you become a seasoned, mature musician, your focus is on those guys and girls sitting in those tables and chairs, eating steak dinners and enjoying good music. Not what the other guy in the corner that plays in another band that you see in the audience. You got to kind of prove it to him that no, my focus are these people, not these people or those people. So I think a lot of times we get away from what we supposed to be doing and who are we focusing on, because again, the majority of those theory people fall in that category. It's all about showing out and getting approval from another musician. I could care less about that. That's the same thing, and this is totally off the subject. But when I was in high school, my mother and father put me to the side and said, you're gonna deal with some lures in high school, and here are some of them, and you need to shoot them down." And one of them was, you ain't cool unless you're smoking pot or smoking and, polluting your lungs. And I'm like, well, let me just stay uncool and healthy with pink lungs. So I never fell into that trap of smoking, because from what I've heard, and I go by what people tell me because I'm not a smoker, they say that addiction is just unbelievable. It's hard to stop. When you stop for a day or two, you got a headache, you don't feel good, you're snapping at people. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that. I mean, if cigarette smoking is not essential to my health, which it isn't in nobody's, I don't want to be a part of that. It's different as far as eating. You might have a issue of eating the wrong foods, but you do have to eat to sustain life. But that cigarette thing, that pot thing, that drinking thing, it's like, no. I love my body, and my body loves me back. But I'm going in on that note. Sorry for the tangent as far as going off into health land, but it all kind of ties in. But until next time, take care and thanks for watching.